5% of the American workforce are employed in the business of making energy in one way, shape, or form. All aspects of energy technology, energy production. 95% of people who are employed in businesses that consume energy. So what is the role of government? What can, we have a government here that has a job to do things. Well, we can do useful things, in my opinion, and they fall into areas of tax policy, because tax policies impact how businesses behave and how people behave. We can do useful and intelligent things on land policy, and land use, and land access, cross-border issues, NAFTA, letting a pipeline get built. We can do those broadly useful policy-related things. And we can do very useful things with respect to technology, but only if it's government with regard to getting out of the way of the private sector. And I know it's a trite truism to say that, but it is actually true.
There's lots of ways to get lots of jobs. But the real issue here is, are we going to permit, in both ways, permit the high value-added projects? If we let the high value-added projects roll out, we'll get the economic growth, we'll get the income, a lot of that income will go to state and local governments, and we'll get the employment. But if we have a strategy that tries to bypass those and go just for the low-value projects, we're not going to get the employment growth.
We are increasingly in a very economic competitive world. I mean, I represent the business sector. And you look at what our manufacturers are facing as they are compared to manufacturers in Asia, in Latin America. It's a really cutthroat world out there. We've got an opportunity here to change that for our economy. Are we going to use it, or are we going to tell people, you know what, rather than going to Nebraska, you should go to Nigeria. Rather than going to the Marcellus, we'd rather you go to Mozambique. And we're saying that to a lot of people. We're saying that to a lot of industry, which is it's going to get too difficult, too expensive, too time-consuming. Operate here. Go somewhere else. And people are voting with their capital. And that's a bad news story for our energy security and for our economy. Are we building anything in this country? This is generation capacity. The answer is no. We used to be building things in this country, but we are no longer. We built a lot of gas-fired capacity, in the early 2000s, but we're not building anything. We built some wind. It's a good and growing resource in this country. That's a great news story. Technology has contributed to that. But for all intents and purposes, everything has come to a dead stop. And why is that? This is all of the regulations that industry is trying to navigate over a very short period of time between 2010 and 2013. This is in air quality, fuel regulations, greenhouse gases, air toxics. Nobody knows what to invest in. It was impossible to model this. And if we can't model it, and the modelers for the government can't model it, what do we think is going to happen? We don't know what the impact of this is going to be on our energy security, on our environment, because this is what it's supposed to improve, and we certainly have no idea what it's going to happen on GDP. And what it's telling people is sit on your money, sit on your capital, sit on your jobs, or go elsewhere. And that's a terrible energy policy, and it's, of course, a lunatic economic policy, but that's what's happening.